And welcome back to PowerPoint 257 C++ tutorial series. Now in our first couple of videos we talked about cout printing things out to the console, basic data types such as strings, doubles, integers, and then finally we talked about some basic C++ and programming math. So let's say you want to throw those all together in a program and impress your parents. Let's say you're taking geometry class or whatever, and you know that the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, right? And you want to make a computerized program to accurately compute that. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to set an integer base equal to, let's say, 5. And let's set integer height is equal to 6. And then we can see out the area of the triangle is, and then I'm going to put base times height divided by 2. And notice that these are in parentheses. It's just similar to math in the sense that parentheses or basic order of operations. So this multiplication is going to take place before this division occurs. And so let's run this, and it should print out the area of the triangle is 15, just like we expected. 1/2 of 5 times 6, which is 30, is 15. Alrighty. But let's say your parents go, okay, so you spent all this time learning this, but all you can do is print out 3-4 lines of code. I mean, you gave yourself these values, and you just printed out some basic math, right? So let's say you want to make your program a little more fun, a little more user interactive, and that's really what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about cin, getline, and really what you're going to be using to extract user input. And this is really fun because especially once you start building some more programs, bigger programs, it's really fun because you can kind of test your own code based on certain user inputs. Based on if they input a certain value, maybe it does one thing, and if you input a different value, it does another. And it'll make your programs a lot more fun and a lot easier to test. And so let's get right into it. So first, let's make these double values, because remember, your base and your height realistically aren't always going to be explicit integer values. So let's make double base, and then let's make a double height, and then let's down here. So we're going to ask, I'm just spacing this out a bit for readability, but let's ask the user, right? Please enter a base value. And then we're going to ask them down here, please enter a height value. Right, and then down here, let's declare double area is equal. Now we're going to set this equal to a formula. Base times height divided by 2. Same thing as 1/2 base times height. Just depending on how some people learn base times height divided by 2. Some people learn 1/2 base times height. But okay, so what are we going to do? Right here, so note your program is going to run from top down, meaning so the program starts, you declare these variables in memory, they're uninitialized at the moment, and then down here we're going to print this out. So right after we print out because we first want to ask them for a base value, and then once they enter that, then we want to ask them for a height value. So right after this, here's the syntax for extracting user input, typically for numerical values, integers and doubles. We're going to go cin, and then we're going to use the right shift operators. Notice how on cout we use left shift operators, but on cin they're going to be pointing the opposite direction. We're going to use the right shift operators. And then we're going to put the variable that we want to enter, or we want the user to input. So we're going to do the same thing right after the height value. Cout height. Okay, cool. And so let's run this. And actually, really quickly, we're going to make sure we print out cout. The area of the triangle is, and then since area holds that value, we're just going to put area. Okay, cool. So when we run this, please enter a base value. Notice that it's running from top down, so now we're here, right? And the program is waiting for the user to input a value. It's a double. So let's say we put a 34.5678. We can do this because it's a double. It's not an integer. If it was an integer and we put this in, it would just round down to 34. And now the height value, let's say 2.3456. This might be Has a triangle that has quite a large base and not very tall, but whatever. And so the area of the triangle we're going to see is 40.5411. Um, and so that was really quickly, that was the syntax for entering typically an integer or a double. But let's comment some of this out, right? I'm going to comment the computations out, and I'm going to I'll comment this out too. Ooh, no need for that. No need for four comment dash marks. I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to make base a string, and then I'm just actually going to see out. I'm going to see out base right here. Cool. So let's run this, and there's something I wanna emphasize. Now let's say now we're gonna, after we enter this value, right? It's gonna print out base, and so let's say we enter hello. Works like a charm, right? But let's say we wanted to, how many string values or expressions or whatnot are just explicitly one word, right? So let's say we wanted to type in hello world, but it only prints out hello, but we wanted to print out hello world, excuse me. Now, this is where using the getline function comes in. Because what I wanted to emphasize was with cin, as soon as there's white space, as soon as somebody presses the space bar, that what was typed up until then is then extracted and put into this variable. So if you're using, a program, where you want the user to input, a string value or an expression or whatever, right? Cin would not be good for that, right? And so let's see what happens though when we use this function. And this is the syntax for it. It's going to be getline parentheses cin, my bad, comma, and then the variable you want to input, right? So now let's run this. And now let's type in hello world. Boom. We get the whole line. So it's going to extract this whole line, no matter how many white spaces. Let's run it again. And let's type in 2, 4, 6, 8. Look at how many spaces there are. Doesn't matter. We're still printing out everything on that line. So there's different scenarios in which you might want to use getline versus cin. A thing to note now, if we were to make this a double, let's say we wanted to make an area function, but we wanted to actually, yeah, keep that. But we wanted to make an area function but use getline, right? And we had these double values. Now, if we run this, we're going to get an error because getline doesn't work too well with doubles. So in this case, if we go back to cin, you can see that if you want to extract doubles from a user, double values, that cin's probably your go-to in that sense, if you just want to extract a single double value. So those are pretty much the two types of user input. There's different scenarios for both of them, but I hope I gave you a good look into when you should or shouldn't use, or could or couldn't use certain ones of one or the other. And I hope that you keep watching these videos, keep programming, have fun, and user input's a really fun part of programming, especially on a basic level. So till next time, guys, thanks for watching. And